This is WOMMLP operating out Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. Good evening, it's The Rocket Shop. I'm your host, Tom Proctor, and with me tonight is Lilith. Hello.
Hi.
It's good to have you back in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I mean, your previous band, or your current band, should I say?
It's previous at this point, yeah.
It is previous?
It is, yeah.
Oh, we're going to have to get into that in a little minute. Well, we like kicking it off with a song, so what have you got for us?
Okay, I'll start off with this song called Only Carrie, which is a song kind of about being in high school with my best friend in Montpelier, where I grew up. The sunflowers didn't last, the stray cats grew up too fast, and lawn chairs moved back inside. We had early at school, that misty town, the second moon to pass the time. I ask you how she's been, and you say I know she gets it, but she won't change. She's all I have, but she's in my way. We're children and act of fate, but she's only Carrie, so we've got to carry our own way. Carry our own way. Carry our own way. Carry our own way. We spent New Year's evening out, two sweet kids dressed up in doubt, thawing in the corner of the bar. Lost to the lights on stage, you shed your coat, the empty decay lull breaks at the buzzing of your phone. Thinking I know she gets it, but she won't change. She's all I have, but she's in my way. We're children and act of fate, but she's only Carrie, so we've got to carry our own way. Carry our own way. Carry our own way. Carry our own way. We can scream, we can fight, we can dream, we can turn to each other in the night.
Carry there by Lilith. Gorgeous song to kick us off with. You want to
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit more about that? So you said it's about growing up in Montpelier as a kid.
Yeah, it is. It's about kind of the experience of hanging out with a best friend and like the interpersonal family stuff that goes into that. And we spent a lot of time at like what used to be Sweet Melissa's in Montpelier. So there's kind of a capturing of a moment and night there, and kind of walking around the town and the mostly the interpersonal family stuff as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's obviously we know you from Lavendula. You kind of alluded at the very beginning that it's no more. Can I ask what happened? Is that taking up too much space when it should be more about
Yeah, well, I moved to Burlington. I had been living in Montpelier, and so was the banjo player Henri. And then Johanna was in Northeast Kingdom, which already was kind of a stretch. So I came to Burlington. It started to, I think, be a lot of stressors. And it ended up being that we all had wonderful things going on afterwards. Johanna's been on tour a lot, is currently in New Orleans, I think, Johanna Rose, playing a lot of beautiful music. And then Henri June Banks is in New Erotics, which is a freaking amazing band. They just played the Queer Takeover at Radio Bean and absolutely blew us all away. So I think that we're all kind of going in different wonderful directions.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that, at the very least, because obviously we loved that band, and we had Johanna in not too long ago, and she was telling us about jet set lifestyle, which is a weird thing to say about Johanna, which does not strike you as kind of a jet set lifestyle kind of person on the surface, but it makes sense considering how great of a musician she is.
Yeah.
I also know Henry's doing some amazing work in Montpelier as well,
Absolutely.
in her own work. But yeah, is this solo project kind of coming out of that, or is this something that you've always had and you're like, all right, I'm going to return back to it?
It's definitely a return. Yeah, I started calling myself Lilith as a solo performer maybe 6 years ago. I had gone on a trip to Europe and I came back and I was like, no more of this silly kind of a musician stuff. I'm a musician. And so this is me coming back to it with hopefully a little more focus. I'm really excited to record all this. I mean, I've got so many songs from over the years that I keep thinking like, oh, well, that will be an album and that will be an album. And now I have to go, no, it's going to be an album altogether. Whatever gets on there. And maybe some stragglers will be recorded later in a different project. But I really want to get kind of the acoustic stuff that I've been doing for years, kind of starting from when I was like 12, out of the way so that I can focus on different directions in music.
So all of this music's already been recorded and it's a case of kind of piling it together and picking and choosing which one? Or
it hasn't. It's just been written. I just have a lot of written stuff that needs to be... I'm starting to teach myself how to record my own music because I've struggled with having other people record it in the past, and that's been a huge delay. Yeah. So now I'm trying to get that delay out of the way by doing it myself the way I want to do it, and I'm having some success with that, so that's exciting.
It's the best part being about solo artists. You get to pick and choose. You get to decide exactly how things are done.
A lot of executive power.
Yeah, a lot of executive power. It's got to go into your head a little bit. You're like, if you're sitting there till 4 or 5 in the morning now.
No, it does. I mean, I am sitting there till 4 or 5 in the morning, but it's not going to my head, I think, so much as it's like, it's kicking me in the butt a little bit. Like, oh, there's nobody else, like, boosting this at all. It's all me.
If you don't do it, no one else literally will. So you said you're really keen to get an album done, but some songs are going to go by the wayside. Some songs aren't. It didn't seem like you were too picky about which ones are going to go onto this first album, or is that not right? Did I interpret that wrong?
I think I am ultimately going to be picky, but hopefully it will still be a kind of large album because I just have quite a few songs, and so it's really hard for me to go through all of them and decide what should be on there and what shouldn't. They tell such varied stories. Trying to put something together that I think actually like expresses something whole is very hard.
Yeah. Well, what's going to be like cohesive? So does it have a particular theme? do you tend to write about the same thing generally, or are we talking about like music from a 10, 15 year time span, all on different subjects, and then got to try and pull a cohesive theme together, or do you tend to write about the same things or the same kind of genre, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely write about like my own feelings and like interpersonal stuff the most. So there's a cohesiveness there. But it is over a very long period of time. Like the earliest song that I have that I definitely want to put on there is from that I wrote when I was like 14. So I think that I have to kind of just throw it into the wishing well and hope that obviously it's cohesive in that the common denominator is me,
Right.
and I'm the same person I've always been. So
Yeah.
there's, as much as it's kind of like navel gazily, it's looking at the same navel the whole time.
So you said one of the songs you got on there is from when you were 14.
Yeah.
And you were writing since you were 12.
Mm-hmm.
Even so, 14 is a very young age to be able to create a song that is palatable. Even, I mean, for an adult listener. Did it start at 14? Is that kind of an anomaly? Like, somehow looked out by creating this amazing song at 14, and I didn't write another good one until I was 19.
No, I would definitely say some of the best songs I wrote when I was in high school. I remember I was writing a lot of like love songs at the time, and my family was like, "Oh, wait until she really falls in love. Those are going to be some really good songs." And I was like, "You idiots! Like, I am a teenager.
Yeah.
This is the most in love I will ever be. These songs are really going to get to the heart of it." So some of my songs that I absolutely adore, I wrote quite young, and it's kind of been a struggle to actually, like, as I develop my songwriting skills, like, remain true to that, like, open-hearted love of just, like, beautiful chords and melodies and really pursuing a feeling, as opposed to now the more I have structure, the more I study poetry, the more I get ideas into my head about what could be, it feels very overwhelming, and like the songs that come out often end up being a lot more labored over, and for better or for worse.
I see. So there's kind of a purity, really, when you were 14, because you didn't know really, I mean, quote unquote, what your parents said, what love is. And so when you put it down into song, it sounds very true to what you're trying to write about. Whereas now, because everything is so complex, the older you get, it's a lot harder to kind of distill that into like a cohesive 3.5, 4 minute long song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and I think I struggle a lot with feeling like I wish I could write about other things, or, and I am, like, I push myself a lot. I'm a perfectionist about, like, this is one of the major forms of art in my life, and I love the idea that I could pursue something, like, really meaningful to me, which I think is inevitably kind of going to be a journey rather than just kind of where I start.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also, like, what I write about, how I write it, I labor over it a lot.
Yeah. What does that tend to look like for you? I mean, are you pacing your room? Do you go off into a little space in the woods? What does laboring over it look like to you? Is it just one song that you just keep going back to, or?
Yeah, it tends to be like I get a little clip, and I play it over and over again until it kind of like kicks something in my brain. The season that it is matters a lot. Definitely, like, if I go into nature, that's super helpful. I think, like, one of the most productive times I ever had was I was living in Marshfield, and it was summertime, and it was like I think it was 2020, so it was like COVID summer, and I was just in the most gorgeous, beautiful woods in the marshes, and I think that environment definitely was like pulled a lot out of me. And I like to switch up instruments. That's very helpful. I play piano as well, and switching between things can be really good. Playing with other people is obviously a wonderful way to, like, get creative bursts.
Yeah. Does that go for the writing as well? Do you kind of do all of this in one spot? Are do you write down and then you pick up your guitar and then you pick up piano, or is that separate? Because I know with a lot of bands, you bring lyrics to bands and then they fill it out.
Yeah, when I was with Lavendula, for example, sometimes we would collaborate on songs, and that would be much more of like a let's all sit down and kind of just like do it. But for me, when I would write songs, even for the band, I'd write them all entirely on my own, very privately. I need a lot of privacy to write. When we were writing together, I remember one time we were in Alaska, and I went into the public bathroom and like hid in a stall to write my little segment of the song because I couldn't do it in front of them. And I don't write anything down ever.
Oh, so when you say you write a song, you mean like in your head?
Yeah, they're not anywhere. They're just in my head.
How do you remember all that? How do you just hold all of that? I can barely remember what I did this morning. So
I think it's just a lot of having done it my whole life. Because I have a really, really good memory for lyrics and other songs as well. I do think that, people are neurodivergent, and I think one of my neurodivergences is definitely an unusual ability to remember lyrics and melodies and things like that.
Yeah, it's incredible. The idea of just you sitting in a small space, rehearsing an entire verse, and then being able to come out and sing it immediately, I think just sounds incredible. It's not something. It sounds like a superpower.
Thanks. Yeah, I like it. It saves a lot of paper.
Yeah, and time as well, or no? Is it worse if you tried writing it?
That's a good question. I thought about this recently. Is that because I am doing everything just on the spot? I do, like, if I'm writing it, I'm gonna play that little bit of music like 40 times to try to like embody it and build on it. So in that way, I think it does take up a lot of time, but I don't care because it's what I like doing. So.
I mean, it's your process. It clearly has worked so far for God knows how many years you've been doing this. So, yeah, it would be very difficult to change now, at least.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Well, we'd love to hear another song.
Great.
So what have you got for us?
This one. What did I just do? I just did only carry. Okay, we're gonna go into a completely different direction. This song, I had a lot of fun putting two different pieces together. So it starts out. It's called Memoriam. Starts out gentle, gets a little crazy. No sweetness could remain. I'm just a bundle of nerves caught up untangling. You don't even look at me. How could you still think of me as I'm not supposed to think like that? So tired of holding back and no good moves, but for the final one we can't go through it when it won't be undone. Do you feel as pitiful as I do, like you're getting dull? No light wants to shine off you. Scratch the surface in the dirty Memoriam. A dream for toys and lovers, and the dreams they had for you might become a candle at sunset for the ghosts you want to haunt you to the dawn. In hopes they'll whisper a word of the ones you love. You and me, we used to build a fire in the backyard where the flames grow higher and higher. Sometimes we learn the things we ought to learn. Sometimes we fall in love all over. But it's cruel to only love you half the time, and I'm useless if I let myself be blind. Do you feel as pitiful as I do, like you're getting dull when you dream dark heart is arrhythmia, is disorder, disillusionment, is destruction, is a reading of my diary, where I wrote the date in the dark heart of the 28th, with no gun to shoot, with no sword to swing, with no song to sing, and no diamond in the dark heart of Methuselah, in the dark heart is arrhythmia, is disorder, disillusionment, is destruction, is a reading of my diary, where I wrote the date in the dark heart of the 28th, with no gun to shoot, with no sword to swing, with no song to sing, and no diamond
Memoriam there by Lilith. Memoriam of what exactly?
Yeah, so there's a line that's like a grave for toys and lovers and the dreams they had of who you might become. So, I don't know. I think it's just a change song.
It's an interesting shared grave right there. Toys and lovers.
Yeah.
Throw them
Well,
in the
I
same
think
pit.
that particularly it was like, it's like this is childish. This is like the loves of youth. Not that I'm not young, but yeah, I think that those things belong together in that circumstance.
I see. So the things you used to play with and now have grown out of. Sorry, that was probably not the best wording. But yes, I kind of Spanish influence in that one as well.
Sure, yeah, they've got some cowboy stuff in there. Well, actually, what the second half of that was, I'm imitating a composer I really love from an anime that I grew up watching. And he does all this like weird rock opera stuff with electric guitars. And I really wanted to steal it. So I tried to, and then it ended up sounding kind of Western.
Oh,
or
interesting.
Spanish or something, yeah.
You mentioned that you started real young. You've got obviously a killer voice.
Oh, thank you.
Really, it's so solid. It really hits you. When did you discover that? It must have been like as a kid if you were doing this at 12.
Yeah, so I didn't really discover it as much as my mom taught me to sing so that I could be her backup vocalist.
That's nice.
One of my earliest memories is that I was walking down the street with her and I was 4 and she was teaching me how to sing harmony. And then when I was like 5, we started performing at the church and then we did the Rainbow Connection. We harmonized on that. So that is just kind of what I was born into. Not so much a choice, but I loved it, so I took to it.
So you're from a musical family then?
I'm from a musical mother, yeah.
A musical mother?
No, yeah, musical family. I've got brothers that play music as well. It's just my dad that's not musical.
I see. Do you still harmonize for your mum? Do you still back your mum up when it comes to music?
Not publicly anymore that much, but we love to sing together. When we get together, it's kind of unstoppable that it's going to happen at some point, but I think that she would like it to happen much more, and it's something we should be doing more.
Well, that's mothers for you though, isn't it? And so when you started writing at 12, were you very much of the mindset then, like, I want to perform as soon as possible? Or did you kind of keep this a secret for a while and then...
No, I did perform as soon as possible.
You did, yeah?
Well, because I was performing regularly already, just not my own music, but
like
at open mics and for church. And my mom had a couple different bands and I would perform with her for those as well. So once I had songs and once I knew how to play the guitar, it was kind of like naturally we added that to the mix.
Yeah.
And just really took off from there.
Was there ever any kind of anxiety, or have you just been doing this so long that you're just like, yeah, this is just what I do. This is just the first time you were on stage as a solo artist, was that an anxious moment for you, or was
I
it just old
didn't
hat?
have anxiety as a kid, if I remember correctly. I think that once I hit puberty, I definitely started to get anxious. But that, like, it's still a little nerve-wracking. But I think pretty quickly it became very comfortable because I did it really regularly at the open mics. So then, especially if you're going to like the same open mic all the time, it starts to feel very homey. But always, I was much more nervous about the actual songs themselves, I guess, and then way more nervous than like playing my own music. Like going to karaoke scares the heck out of me.
Oh, really?
I love doing it, but like that was always the more pushy thing, is like going up there and just having the whole thing be like, this is supposed to be fun, and like you're supposed to put on a big show, and that part I'm much more of like a put my head down and not make eye contact kind of musician.
That really surprises me, especially, with the previous band, you all came in here all guns blazing and huge personalities. It was wonderful. I've listened to that recording a few times now.
Oh, nice.
And so it surprises me that that's kind of how you identify, because it's not kind of how you come across, at least from this side of the microphone.
Cool. That's nice to hear. I think I really, really appreciated those two for bringing it out in me. Like, it felt very much like we could do anything together, and the laughter just came so naturally together on stage. There was a lot of banter that would happen. It's a lot harder when it's just you to feel like you have anything to do but look at your fingers. And
but you are doing quite a lot. You're not just looking at your fingers, you're also singing.
Yeah,
It's also your own music. I mean, I feel like, if anything, on stage, I'm not someone that can sing worth anything. I can't play an instrument. I do karaoke and I nail it, but it's not good. It's just entertaining. I feel like on stage as a solo musician, there's so much to concentrate on that the kind of crowd is secondary. But obviously, that's not the case. That must be something that's actually quite top of mind.
I think that I would love to feel more free to engage in the crowd. And I did discover, like, I had been in Montpelier for so long, kind of just in the same situation. And I recently, like last year, moved to Burlington, and getting to know people here, it's a lot more fun to go to a show where, like, it's not just a few people it's like a bunch of people And so then it feels very, like, joyous, and there's a lot of room to express yourself. And that has taught me a lot. I kind of got lost there. I don't remember what you even asked me, but
it doesn't matter. I'm kind of now curious because you said, you moved to Burlington a year ago and the music scene is kind of different. Tell us a little bit about that. What is, apart from the fact that, a show might have 15 people in the crowd rather than 4, what is the other major differences between being a musician in Burlington versus Montpelier?
I think that one of the best things is getting to support other musicians and to feel like there's this constant circular energy flow happening. There's so much creativity, and particularly right now, in my opinion, like post serious part of the pandemic or whatever the heck we call that, post pandemic, I think that, and currently like economic crisis, it seems to me just like people are really turning to art and music. So there's so much energy there. I love just getting to pop by a friend's show and be like, I saw your show, you'll be at my show. And then we hang out afterwards and have drinks rather than just like, I don't know, playing to a very mellow situation and then like getting kind of sleepy and going home early.
So in Burlington, as you said, playing at different shows is kind of different. I didn't notice, I've not seen your name on the billboards yet, should we say. Have you been playing around a lot? How have I missed you? How has this not happened?
No, I've had like 2 Radio Bean gigs maybe since being here, just because I am not, well, I mean, like I said, I don't have the album yet, and so I haven't had this real push of like, I gotta get out there and be doing the thing. I've been mostly enjoying other people's music and enjoying hanging out with my friends and stuff like that, but I'm hoping to line some stuff up for kind of the early summer season as I start releasing what I've been working on. So unfortunately don't have any dates or places to give out right now, but I want people to keep an eye out.
We'll be keeping a lookout. Myself and Annie both very much enjoy your music, the whole lot of your music, to be honest. But yeah, so we're very much looking forward to that. You have got a few songs recorded though, because I went on your website earlier on, and there is a few down there. So
there were some like live performances maybe from the past. Those were from a while ago.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
Oh.
maybe 6 years ago, I would guess.
Jesus. Yeah, I could not have said. I mean, if you put gun to my head, I'd been like, yeah, she could have done this last week. I had no idea.
It's just me and the guitar, you know.
Yeah, and there's one YouTube video as well out there as well.
Yeah, I know. I definitely I recorded a thing on the bus with Seamus Hannon.
Oh, Seamus! I didn't know you know Seamus.
Yeah, what a wonderful person. He was doing this series, I don't know if he still is, where he had people come into his bus and he would video record them, and we did a few songs. I think I did a Kate Bush cover, and that was a really fun one.
Yeah, wonderful.
To do. Maybe that's the YouTube video. Maybe not.
It's his birthday on Friday. I'll be at his party.
Yay! Happy birthday, Seamus.
He's also going to be performing at my wedding, which is pretty cool. So yeah, very much looking forward to that.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Well, we would love to hear another song.
Yeah.
So what have you got for us?
Let's do it. Whoa. Music. What did I just do? Those other two. Okay, this song is going to be my little cutesy one. This is a song about my home here in Burlington, because when I moved in with my friends, it was just like heaven on earth how comfortable it felt. So this is an homage to that. Couch over here and chair over there, a rug underneath and you on the stairs. It's not a big house for the four of us, but we're adding the cat and a picture of a thrush and the sunflowers above the fireplace. If you break my lamp, that can be replaced, but I'm not replacing you. No, 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 I'm not replacing you. Oh, no, no, I'm not replacing you. No, 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 I haggled for a dresser in the shop down the road. I biked to the side of the lake, got stoned, invited our friends over for a bite to eat. We thought we'd watch a movie, but then we got sleepy. They can take the couch when the sunlight hits their face. If they eat the last egg, that can be replaced, but I'm not replacing you. No, 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 I'm not replacing you. Oh no, I'm not replacing you. No, 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 Coffee in the morning when you stave off the blues. Love. Coffee in the morning when you stave off the blues. Pasta in the evening when you're short on your fuse. Love is in your bedroom if you're on good terms. Don't go in the shower if you're scared of our germs. I can read the text right off of your face, and if they break your trust, that can be replaced, but I'm not replacing you. No, 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 I'm not replacing you. Oh no, I'm not replacing you. No, 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 waiting on the porch for the sun to first snow, waiting for forever with the future unknown, but waiting with the certainty that love abounds, waiting with the whistle that the kettle sounds.
Lilith there with, I didn't actually get the name of the song.
Oh, I think it's because I haven't named it yet.
Oh, no
Probably
way.
not replacing you. That sounds about right.
Probably not replacing you. Okay.
Oh, maybe we'll see about replacing you.
See, yeah. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about moving to Burlington. I think I may
Just
have asked you this
lovely.
last time. But yeah, what was the impetus for the move?
Oh, I had been in Montpelier for so long. I've never really gotten out of there. But
It sounds like you've been to a lot of places. So
not to live.
not to live.
I've traveled a bit, but honestly, I'm a homebody, and I don't think I'm a homebody in all of my spirit. I think there's a lot of my spirit that needs more people. I grew up in Worcester, Massachusetts, so I came from there being a lot of people, but I settled into a very small town in Montpelier. But being in Burlington was a great choice. I followed kind of a friend who had this wonderful household of people, and then I was like, okay, they've got this wonderful household of people. I'll come to Burlington. I got like a sublet, and I had a few sublets until I finally found something permanent. And then like at that point, I had already kind of been sucked into that friend group, and we kind of split off into 2 houses, and now we're like neighbors, and we
Oh, that's wonderful.
share households.
So that's still the case now?
Yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic. That's the best kind of situation.
it's pretty cute.
Yeah.
I adore all of them very much.
Have you got lots of songs about them, or is that the only one that's been written
That's
so far?
kind of the only one that's been written so far. Well, no, that's not true. Yeah, I've got another one that's like not quite finished yet. It's called Heaven is Real, and it's on Marble Ave.
Nice.
And so that's my homage to the neighborhood.
I love that the second song that has not been fully written yet has a name, whereas the song that you've just performed has not got a name yet.
True. Well, it started because somebody said the phrase.
Yeah,
And I was
okay,
like,
I see.
oh,
Well,
that's good.
I've got to write a song
And so
about this
I
now.
took it. Yeah, that one's going to be a good song too, hopefully.
Is it? Are you 2 musical households, or are you the one musician out the
Oh, no,
2?
yeah, tons of musicians. So actually, in one of the households is my dear friend Eve, who's Tiptoe, a Burlington musician. They just also were at the Queer Takeover and totally killed it. Annie Selly is a wonderful musician. Tall Child is my roommate, wonderful musician. I hope it's okay that I'm telling everybody who lives with who, but
All good. We don't know exactly where it is. We just know the neighborhood, Marble Avenue. Yeah. So you've.
I don't think any of us have any crazy stalkers.
No, also like 8 people listen to this show, so I think
Perfect.
unless one of those 8 people are a crazy stalker, then we're probably in good nick.
Yeah, I mean, a crazy stalker would be listening to the show,
That's
right?
actually very true. Yeah. Well, shout out to the crazy stalker.
Thanks for listening.
I hope we didn't give you too many clues. So, as you said, you're planning on getting an album together,
True.
and are you planning to personally record this? Is it a home setup, that kind of
Home
deal?
setup, Logic, me and my laptop. It's not even actually my laptop; it's a borrowed laptop.
Borrowed laptop.
Yeah.
Love that. What stage of the process are you at right now?
You know, we got tempos. No, that's not entirely true. Some of the songs are more fleshed out than other ones, but I am trying to just do like me and the guitar, not because that's really how I initially heard the songs or like thought they were going to be, but because at this point I just want to do it. So I think that the thing that's going to be the most successful and the quickest to do is me and the guitar. Even though I have lots of people I would really love to bring in, maybe at a later time that'll happen. So at this point, I've got, like guitar tracks down for a lot of them, and I'm kind of working on like harmonies at the moment and figuring out like what keys also. Sometimes like I'll have the whole track down and then I start to sing it and I realize that it's going to sound better in a different key or something like that. So there's a lot of starting and stopping and restarting and reinventing the wheel a lot.
I feel like this might be your perfectionist nature coming out.
Oh yeah. All the time, in everything.
Do you set yourself deadlines? Are you kind of like, all right, by the end of April, I'm going to have 3 tracks?
I try to, and we see how it goes. Sometimes that's like really successful and really helpful, and sometimes it's a pipe dream.
Yeah, I mean, we're different at different times. As you said, the season affects me massively.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's so funny. Also, I work at Barrio, and it's amazing how just like a few days ago, everybody got the spring bug, and now all the drinks are iced.
Yes.
And everybody's so like peppy and tipping me more. Like I make like $20 more a day already, just because of spring.
I saw someone do pull-ups on a bus stop the other day, and I feel like that typifies the spring bug
Entirely.
to its zenith. I think 2 years ago I was walking down the bike path and I saw a guy go for a jog in jeans. And I'm like, that's someone who was like just one day was on his sofa and he stood up, he put his laptop away.
Today's the day.
And he just ran. there was no thought about it. He just went for it. And I feel like that's hitting everyone right now.
Yeah, it's funny to see the memes about it. I love watching the internet have the exact same experience across like many states and stuff like that. And
is the spring book helping you? Is that
entirely?
okay.
Entirely. There's so much more recording happening. I also always try to write songs in the winter, and then I beat myself up and I go, why? Why is nothing happening? Why is nothing coming out? And then the spring happens, and all these songs start coming out, and I'm like, that's what I needed.
It's the gestation period, and then you got the birthing period.
But I never learned that. I just continually go through winter and get confused every time.
So obviously this is a solo project. It does feel like some of these songs, especially the ones I listened to on your website, which admittedly I just found out are 6 years old, a lot of them sound like they should have a band behind them.
Yeah, as you can tell, like I'll often go kind of crazy on the guitar, and the thing is that in the past, a lot of my opportunity to play music with other people was, I'm gonna be honest, with older dudes who sucked. Not musically, but interpersonally,
Right.
or they were just creepy. So I really feel like I got pushed to being alone a lot because of like maybe partially my own like just personality, but also the music scene that I felt like was around. So I haven't, like, Lavendula was the first band I was ever in. It was not the kind of band I ever expected myself to be in as like an acoustic, very like folk country, almost even punky at times band. Not what I expected. I had so much fun doing it. But like I always imagined that I would get together like, you know, a pretty typical band, but maybe also add like a synth. And so eventually at some point I do kind of want to get into that territory. But right now, one of the things that I'm doing with recording with Logic is I'm able to create so many parts of songs and compose more. And I'm looking forward to bringing that to other people. So for these songs that I just wrote on the guitar, I'm sure I'll play them with a band at some point. But for the ones that I'm starting to do more like composition stuff, I'm really excited to bring those to people and be like, play this.
I mean, with the households that you live in, I feel like there's a plethora of talented musicians you could pick from who probably won't be creepy.
Oh yeah. No, that's actually probably the single going back to Burlington music scene. The single best thing about it is that I'm finally around people my own age who have a lot higher standard for how musicians should treat each other and don't expect that everything is just an opportunity to find somebody to mess around with. So every single time I play, I get lots of people coming out and being like, let's jam. And so I'm jamming with new people all the time and really looking forward to all the different projects that can happen.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm very, very keen to see this eventually happen with a band. I'm very keen to listen to this album when it's done. So please get that sent over as soon as that's done. And I'm also very keen on seeing you play live at certain points in the summer. I feel like you've got a good summer vibe to you. So would like to see some outdoor gigs if possible.
It's the peace sign earrings.
It's
isn't
the
it?
peace sign earrings.
Yeah.
It's also the flower dress.
Flower dress.
Just happens to be what you're wearing today. Well, we've got about time for one more song. So what have we got
Excellent.
to finish this off with?
Yeah, let's do something fun. What do we got? Oh, what's one of my favorites? I know I should have picked these songs ahead of time, but I'm just totally spur of the moment kind of person. So we're gonna do this one called April Fools because it's good timing. This I wrote when I was with Lavendula, so it's a little more country.
Jane Goodall and Sylvia Earle are on my back porch, giving the bomb world they want to sober up and see me off to school. The deadline is April Fools. Isabella and is on the bathroom floor, scratching off some dope puzzle number 4, and she's got a satin satchel pack for Peru, flying Delta Blue on April Fools. Saying it's not getting away from me now. I'm not sure how I put it off so long, but nobody tied me down. The world
I'm painting the monsters instead of the kids. The living room's covered with her paint tubes and tarps and what she tries to call art. Jane Goodall and Sylvia Earle are waving their goodbyes to the dropout girls. They ain't got this all together in a year or two. We'll be back this way on April Fools, saying it's not getting away from me now. Not sure how I put it off so long with nobody tying me down. The world's not gonna wait for me now. I've been meaning to run off into it. Tired of hanging around. I just gotta make it through to April Fools. Whoa,
All right, Lilith playing us out there with April Fools. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Tom.
Of course, and please come back in when you got the album done. Yeah, love to see you a little bit more this summer. Well, that's all we've got for this evening. Join us next week when we'll have the Delta Suite duo coming in. But for now, this has been WOMMLP operating out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. It's been The Rocket Shop. I've been your host, Tom Proctor, and good night.